So, it looks like it's a done deal. Mikel Arteta is Arsenal's manager. Oh, really? Really? This is the guy we're getting in as manager to fix a club in crisis. This is the guy that we were gonna hire him 18 months ago. And we didn't hire him back then. We could have got him on the cheap. And now we're getting him for £5 million a year. Do you know how much that is? At a height, at its maximum, Arsene Wenger earned £8 million a year. And he worked 20 years to get there. And Mikel Arteta just comes in with no managerial experience for £5 million a year. Really? Is that what we're doing? On a 3.5 year contract. So, if he turns out to be terrible, it'll cost us an arm and a leg to get rid of him. Do I think it's a good choice? No. Did I have a preference for who else to get? I don't know. The problem with Arsenal Football Club at the moment is that it's not an attractive club for any experienced manager to come in and fix, which is what Arsenal is at the moment. Remember, we're sitting in 10th at the time of recording. We're sitting in 10th in the Premier League at the time of recording. We could be in a relegation battle in a few weeks. This Arsenal, as it stands, is a fixer-upper. It needs someone to fix it. It's a club in crisis. It's a sinking ship, whatever metaphor you want to use. Okay? We can't gamble on somebody with no managerial experience. I don't care if he captained for us for a few years. It doesn't matter. He's the assistant coach at Manchester City, which is a club experiencing their own defensive issues. Our defensive issues, everyone knows them. Everyone knows that Arsenal cannot defend. So, do we bring in the assistant coach at another club that cannot defend very well at the moment? Is that what we're doing? Really? Really? I mean, what can I say? What can I say? I think it's a bad choice. I think it's a bad choice. But if it turns out that he's actually a good manager, well, I'll be happy to eat my words. I'll be happy to eat humble pie for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know? Just, just, is this the time to gamble? Because, again, like I said, relegation battle in a couple of weeks. Easily. It's a weird league at the moment. Norwich were just doing incredibly well on the pitch, is currently in the relegation zone. Okay, Norwich can actually score goals against Manchester City. You know, they are a fantastic club to watch as a neutral, and we we had no one shot on target against Manchester City. I mean, really, Mikel Arteta, that's the guy to fix this club at this moment in time. I think it's a bad choice. I think it's a terrible choice, but what could we have done? What manager would want to come to Arsenal as it stands? Join a sinking ship. You know, come on board the Titanic after it's hit the iceberg. It's it seems like either because he isn't even a cheap choice. As I said, he's going to be earning £5 million a year. That's not a cheap choice. That is the only person we've got at the moment. That that's why he's being considered. We considered him before, and we may have spoken to a couple of experienced managers with far better CVs, and they've turned us down. Ancelotti is available. He's going to Everton, apparently. So, you know, maybe he turns us down. Although I did read one story that said he was quite willing to go to Arsenal. So, why Arteta? Why? I mean, he's not even a club legend. Whatever people say, he's not. He just isn't. I mean, I hate this idea that just because you've played for a club in the past, that gets you, a fast track ticket to managing that club. That's just not how it works. We could have we could have had Brendan Rodgers, although Leicester are doing so well with that. Realistically, why would he want to join us? You know, they've got owners with the money, with the ambition to win Premier League again. See, Leicester even won the Premier League more recently than we have. Everyone has. So yeah, I could actually imagine that we approached Brendan Rodgers and he turned us down. That's the scenario we're in. We're getting Arteta because nobody else will come to our sinking ship of a club. That's that's the scenario. That's the only scenario where I can see why he would be the choice for Arsenal Football Club. I mean, people will say, "Oh, you've got to back him. You've got to back him." He's got potential. He's got a very low floor, but potentially a very high ceiling. That's not what we're looking for. We're not looking for potential. We're just looking for somebody to steady the ship, even though it's a sinking ship. Plug some holes, fix it as we chug along. Sorry, I'm just mixing up metaphors. But honestly, Mikel Arteta, I can imagine, is just the only person who said yes to Arsenal at this point. That's why we're considering him. That's why that's why he was in the running, maybe even because more experienced managers didn't want to come to us 18 months ago. I refuse to believe that 18 months ago, before the appointment of Emery, that the choice came down to Arteta and Emery. I think, honestly, we approached some top class managers and they just weren't interested. I mean, look at the state we were in, or we were in. I mean, we were sixth back then, which is still better than now. But I really could not believe that back then there were no experienced managers, and we had to consider Arteta, a former player and second in command to Manchester City. That was a good choice. I just couldn't see it. I would take a championship manager because you know what? They may be from the championship, but at least they are a manager. Mikel Arteta, I mean, I know the old joke about, maybe he's just a coach that puts the cones out. It's not just that. It's, you can't just make a jump from being an assistant coach to being the head coach of a so called Big Six club like Arsenal. You just can't. We could have gone for Brendan Rodgers. Heck, at the time, we could have gone with Mourinho. Yes, Mourinho would have been not good for the future of this club, but at least he's an experienced manager. He's the most experienced manager in the running, or he was before, Spurs snapped him up. And look, I don't see Mourinho being a future manager for Spurs. Like, they're going to take them so far. They're going to get them back to winning ways, but I don't see Mourinho carry on Spurs into the future. But at least he steadied the ship. That's what we needed. Spurs were in our shoes. They were in the same place as we were. They weren't winning games. They've lost faith with Pochettino and, well, several our players with Emery. But when they fired Pochettino, they went straight for Mourinho. Why? Because he was the most experienced manager available. That's what we should have done. Not going back to the assistant coach of Manchester City just because he's a former Arsenal player. That's just not good management by the board. Not good decision making. We're gonna have to keep the faith, but I've got no faith in this decision. Over and out.